Hello everybody, welcome. Nice to see you all out there. I've been watching the chat, oh my lord of me, what a lot of people, loads and loads of people, lots of questions rolling in already. Hope you're having a good day, whether it's morning, evening, night, whatever it is. So here we are in the shed as ever. As you can see, I've set up with all my gear, with my regulation cup of tea, all the rest of it. I have my brand new template. I've been spending the last couple of days building a brand new template, which is quite interesting. So that's definitely working. But look, the main point of this afternoon's little adventure is to give you an opportunity to ask a couple of questions, and then we can sort of, mix it up a bit. So there's lots and lots of questions rolled in already. I wanted to, let me go back to one. Okay, Oost, Studio Oost. Is Oost your name, or is it just where your studio is? Anyway, you say, do you have to, you're joining the Performing Rights Organisation in the Netherlands, and they want to take all your work, not just part of it. Yeah, that is absolutely the way it normally works. The reason being that in the UK and the rest of the European Union, when you join a performing rights organisation, you assign the writer's share of your copyright to them, and they collect it for you, which means you can't assign it to anybody else. So this is a common problem. Well, it's not a problem, it's a good thing, because when you, for example, if somebody comes along and says, I want a buyout, I want everything, I want all your children, I want your house. No, I mean, if somebody's trying to buy you out and include the writer's share, if you're a member of a European performing rights organisation, you have to say, no, I can't do that, I'm afraid, because the Performing Rights Society or this bunch in the Netherlands, they've already got it. And then normally the client goes, okay, well, I'll do it anyway. Okay, right. Oh, here we go. When working for a client, do you copyright your stuff anyway? Okay. The copywriting thing, as soon as in the United States and some other territories around the world, you do register your copyrights. In the UK and Europe and a large number of the other countries, you don't actually register copyright. What happens is, as soon as you record or write down your piece of music, if it's into a sequencer, if it's onto a dictaphone, whatever else it might be, you create a whole range of copyrights, not just one, but in the sound recording, in the music, all kinds of other things. So that copyright then exists, and by default it belongs to you, unless you happen to be an employee of somebody else. So the question of copywriting things doesn't really crop up. What does crop up though is, if you're working for somebody else, should you register, and you're a member of a performing rights society, should you register it? Yes, if you possibly can. Sometimes there are rules about only the publisher or the commissioner can do it, but a lot of the time they're very laid back about it and they don't understand how important it is. And so, yeah, I would absolutely get on that and do that. Let's have a little look at all these other questions rolling in. Hello, Trevor Meek from sunny, snowy, windy Leeds. Yeah, it's been really cold and a bit autumny today. I even got the heater out. The heater out for the first time. Look, it's down there. There's heater. Look, it's windy outside. Let me give you a quick look round. It's not as anyway. That's where Larry normally is. I mean, I saw a question about Larry earlier. Larry is the pheasant. Haven't seen. We lost sight of Larry for quite a while, and then I saw him, and he cropped up with a very sorry looking short tail, and he's had a close encounter with a fox, I think. And nowadays he is back. He is back wandering around, but he's not quite as confident as he once was. So. Anyway, so Larry is still with us by all accounts, which is pretty good, but it is only halfway through the shooting season, so we'll see how that turns out. Okay, what's the best sample library for students? Start with the free stuff, because there's tons of. I was just looking around today. There is so much good free stuff out there now. I would, if you're looking for a one-stop shop. When you say sample library, there is a default setting that it's going to be an orchestral sample library. That, of course, is not necessarily the case. If you want to write orchestral music, Probably the best value is Spitfire's BBC Core. So the Core edition, I mean, it's still, whatever, £400 or something, which is, for a student, a lot of money. But if it's how you're going to be writing music, then go for it. I would also, brand spanking new thing, have you come across Native Instruments Complete Starter, or Start, or whatever it's called? It's a whole load of really cool free things. It's completely free, and it's a great insight into their world. So that's absolute. We'll have a go. We'll have a proper go. It's called Complete Start, and you get 7 synthesizers, and you get 9 sampled instruments, and some world stuff, and some effects, and what's not to like? So I would start with the free things. While you're working out what your music's going to sound like, because you don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on, orchestral libraries and then go, do you know what? I think I'm more of an electric sound designy sort of person. Your voice probably doesn't sound like that. But I'm sorry, that's probably deeply patronising. Anyway, I usually use the piano as my background instrument to play arpeggios, but I'm currently learning music orchestration, and I'm wondering what to replace the piano with and how. If you are playing, a lot of people use the piano as their starting point. Entirely reasonable thing to do. Hang on. I would have said, the image is a bit dark. Oh, sorry, there we go. Is that better? I think it might be a bit better. We'll see how the day goes on. It depends on the arrangement. The great thing about orchestration is you have a whole load of choices. You can replace it most directly with things like harp, which is a real easy no-brainer in a way. But you can use strings, you can use woodwinds, you can use guitar, you can use almost anything. It's a matter of listening to the music you like, or even the music you find challenging, and trying to work out what other people have done. Because there's nothing to stop you being inspired by other people's ideas and inspired by their combinations of instruments, and then you can reinvent it and recombine it with other things, and it'll be all super duper. That's what I think anyway. Okay, too old to grow up. Hey Guy, new subscriber here. Nice to see you, nice to see you. You must have been the one who tipped, have you seen, we're 150,000 subscribers. That means there's 50,000 more of you in the last, 4 months? That's incredible. Thank you, thank you. It is really humbling to see all those, those little numbers rushing up like that. Really, really good. Sorry, I was in the middle of answering a question, now I've lost it. Oh, what? Guy, do you use all your displays and buttons and stuff on your Complete much? Okay, number of questions about the famous S88. This wonderful keyboard in front of me here. Oh, here we go. I was talking to myself, wasn't I? Here we go, there we go. Here's the keyboard. I absolutely love it. Do I use all the buttons and the knobs and whistles? The knobs I do, because I've got them preset to various controllers, which are like volume and CC11 and mic positions for Spitfire and things like that. I've got these set buttons for key switches, sort of C-2 and things like that. But the real thing I love about this keyboard is the flashing lights. No. It's so easy to play. It's just like playing a piano. It's compared to my M Audio, not the one which went swimming with me, which is fine by the way, but the piano action one. It was just so easy to. It was just really difficult to get those in between gradations of velocity, and it's just really wonderful. I really love it. So yeah, it's massive thumbs up to the S88. It's a big investment, but if you're, we always have to qualify all of this by saying, it's all very well for me because, if I do it for a living, and for those of you who do, you'll know why things like a keyboard are really important. Do you need to spend hundreds of pounds on a keyboard? No. You can spend whatever it is, 50 quid. Oh, no, not 50 quid, but this is, I love this. I love this. Oops, sorry. Have you got one of these? M32. This is the best portable keyboard by a mile. Because it comes built in with pitch bend and controllers, and you know how much I like knobs. There's a disturbing lack of flashing lights though. Other than that, it's absolutely first class. Really love it. You know, and also, you know, we have to remember that lots of people do not play the keyboard, and they enter their music from guitars, from just using the mouse, all kinds of things, and that's absolutely great. You don't have to be a keyboard player to write music. I saw a really good question, really good question. What do I do if I haven't got any talent? Oh, that is a sad question for a Friday afternoon. Look, I'm not sure I believe you. Who knows if you've got talent or not? We have a lot of students who come onto the master's course who have massive imposter syndrome, who think, why am I here? Why am I here? And actually they're writing really good music, but they just don't have very much confidence. You may be one of those people. Alternatively, maybe you genuinely don't have a great deal of talent. But okay, so ask yourself these questions. Do you enjoy trying to write music? You know, and getting your head around it and all that. And if you're having fun, great, go for it. You know, I mean, the only time it matters if you've got talent or not is if you're trying to earn a living or win prizes or teach other people. You know, and if you're not trying to do that, you know, I mean, who cares? As long as you're enjoying it, and if you take our how to write music course, you will, even people with no talent. No. I mean, look, the point is, even if you struggle and you do find it quite hard to come up with really good ideas, that still shouldn't stop you having fun. Okay, right. How does getting a job on a team for an established composer work? Okay, and is that a viable way of getting a foot in the door to eventually starting your own work? Very much so. Okay, getting onto another composer's team. Only quite big, busy composers have assistants, so it tends to be very competitive to try and get those jobs. And those assistants tend to have to move to the big centres like Los Angeles, New York and London, because it's quite hard getting a job as an assistant. I suspect Berlin's coming into this. There's more and more composers in Berlin actually. So you have to be not only, what you're looking for most of the time with an assistant to start with is the last thing you want them to do is to write music. You want them to sort out your template. You want them to bounce out all the lines of MIDI and turn it into audio and stay there doing it all night and still be cheerful in the morning. It's a tough light when you first start as an assistant. I had an assistant who went to work for Hans Zimmer, and he was literally up 20 hours a day and slept in a chair for the other 4. And he stayed there 10 years. And now he's doing blockbuster AAA movies. So it 100% works. And what people, Devonish, okay, could you, okay, Devansh Chandler, thank you very much indeed. Very kind of you. Now, just, okay, no spamming, please, or I won't answer your question. Okay. So the way you do it is you write great music, you take a passionate interest in film and film music and really understand what the composer's trying to do and how they work, and you get in touch. And most of them, and you try and stay in touch, because when these opportunities come up, you're never absolutely certain. You know, they're going to just pick a name. Well, they're not going to pick a name. They will actually, if they've got any sense, they will go through carefully trying to find the right person. There is another way into, I mean, the team thing very much works with some trailer houses and some commercial production houses where they have a whole load of sort of remote assistant additional music composers who pitch for things. And again, you just, when you're pitching for any job, and this right across the board, don't just machine gun off stuff right, left and centre. Send fewer pitches off, but do some work to work out who the person is you're sending them to. Look at their output, look at their work, understand what they're trying to do, and make it clear in your covering letter that you know not just who they are, but you understand something of their world, and they will take you much more serious. Okay, why is it Mitchellmore, not Michelmore? Because that's my name, obviously. Okay, a silly answer, but it's true. Your name is your name. You know, anyway. Why don't people talk about Reaper? They do, actually. Reaper is a big thing in the world of video games, both composers and sound designers. Lots of our sound design master students work on Reaper because it's particularly good for it integrates directly into I was about to say wires, and is that no? I can't remember. Reaper has a sort of connection with one of the middlewire things, which is a way in which games work. But I won't get into that immediately. It's struggled a little bit in the film world because it's not quite as fully featured as things like Cubase and Logic. But Reaper is an absolutely perfect way in. It's not technically free, but it is excellent value, and there's no reason why you shouldn't use it. FL Studio is another one, and Bitwig. All these three I've heard. FL and Bitwig. FL certainly is obviously much bigger in pop and dance and things like that. I've been playing with FL. It is if you're used to things like Cubase, Logic, whatever, it is a bit of a mind fart. It's completely different. The whole paradigm is completely different. You go, what's happening here? But actually, it's extremely good, and it does take there is a bit of a learning curve because it just the basic way it's put together is completely different to every other DAW. It is genuinely free, and then there's a premium edition, which is really, really good. And one of these days, I'm going to get around to doing some stuff on it. It's just I've got so much stuff to do. That's so little time. What am I supposed to do? Oh no. Okay, Vienna Synchron pianos are great, great library, but very expensive. Any alternatives? So many piano libraries out there. What do I use? The reason I tend to default to Synchron at the moment is because it's the first piano I've come across which can do everything. So it can sound big and bright, and it can sound soft and intimate. Before that, the one I was using day and night was Emotional Piano from, is it Soundiron? It used to be Tonehammer, but I would imagine it's quite cheap now. But it's very difficult to recommend a piano because so many people. It's such a personal thing, and everybody's piano taste is going to be different. So, but I would definitely check out Emotional Piano if you want that soft, intimate sound. I really like it. Again, let me skip back because I think there was loads of questions which I may have gone. But what is the best place to publish and monetize your music? That's a good question. Actually, that's a really good question. We're doing an open day for the postgrad, but also we're doing a session on the 10th of October about the commercial music industry, and I'm going to be joined by Steve Cusack, who is a good friend. He's also the director of label and artist services at Three Tone. Three Tone Records are Amy Winehouse, all kinds of people like that. He knows everything there is to know about marketing music. And Phil Larson, who's a Grammy Award winner, works with Linda Perry, lots of other people, and I'll be there. So if you have questions, this kind of question is exactly the question we want to hear from you on the 10th of October. So look out for our emails and little adverts and things for that, because that's going to be coming up. And so register for that session and come along and ask exactly that question. Other people will give you a better answer than me. So, okay, what's the best legato string patch that's easy on the pocket? That's I think, well, the one I did 2 days ago, which is VSL Synchron Strings Pro, is very, very good. It's currently on special offer, just starting. So, I mean, easy on the pocket is still 200 and something quid. I would also go and check out the 8DO stuff. 8DO is sometimes, it's sort of people, it sort of slips under the radar somehow. And it's not as well known as East West and Spitfire, but it does have, outstandingly good stuff, and it's often they do these kind of little 24-hour sales and things like that. Let me just have a look at. I'm just trying to think if any of the originals have. I'm just going to load up on a Spitfire original, because I have a feeling that one of those does have some form of. Is it intimate? Do they have a legato patch in there? Let's have a little look. Come here, my friend. Hello. Don't be shy. No, it's not that one. No, unfortunately not. Okay, I thought it would be a bit much to ask. I think one of there is one which is in the cheap or deeply affordable category, which does have legato. The short answer is go and look at the older libraries, which are discounted, still have great. Some really great stuff going on in them. Right, here we go. I'm back again. Right, let's have a look. Lots of chat going on. Lots and lots of chat. Apart from assisting other composers, what's the best way to get any work? The best way to get work is depends if you mean to earn a living, or whether you want to get in and write films because you want to write films. Scoring films is not a way to earn a living very often, because most films lose money, etc., etc. The best way to get started, you've got to write great music. You've got to, more than anything else, you have to stand out from the crowd. If you write really good, carefully considered, distinctive music, so the things to avoid are sounding like everybody else, trying to turn out trailer sounding music that everybody else has heard 1,000 times, sounding like John Williams or Hans Zimmer. Forget all that. Look at what people are buying. Work out which is your market. Is it going to be indie games? Is it going to be kids TV? Whatever else it is, look at what people are actually buying. Look at the stuff which is on TV or on Netflix or being on Steam if it's a game and released now. What is the current sound? Because people don't want to buy what was popular 5 years ago. They want to buy what's popular now. And, market research is easy. It's just there in front of you. So work that out, develop a distinctive sound of your own, and do carefully targeted pitches to people who can employ you, or to start giving you some work, even if there's not much money involved, and get a bit of traction. That's what I would do. I'd definitely, if I'm starting from scratch right now, I would definitely concentrate on indie games, because that's where the most work is. Okay, do you prefer BBC Symphony Orchestra or Hybrid Orchestral Library for film scoring? I'm a big fan of the BBC Symphony Orchestra, and I use it. Most of my template, this new template, which I've got here, is Spitfire, the normal sort of the big symphonic edition. So I've got the Woodwinds. I tend to try and focus on one library, and the reason I've gone for the big expensive edition is because it has real depth when it comes to the number of articulations and instruments. BBC is absolutely fantastic. If you're starting from scratch, it's a great place to be. But because I was already 3/4 of the way, no, I've already got the whole thing, obviously, and I know that library really, really well. So I tend to use that one. But lots of other, there's no reason why you would use that. You might just as well use something else. BBC Symphony Orchestra is a great library. It's really, really, really good. And as I say, they've got a good sort of product ladder. So it starts with Discover, which is free, then Core, which is what, £300, £400, then the Pro version, which is sort of 800 or 900. Anyway, really, really good. What else have we got going on here? What's the latest movie? I'm doing one at the moment, actually, called Black Russian. It's a sort of heist movie. Too early to say how it's going to turn out. I'm doing. I've got. For those of you in Northern Ireland, I did this. I did a theme for. What's it called? Spotlight. Their current affairs show. And I did it probably 10, 15 years ago, and it's still on. And every few years they come back, we revamp it and make it a bit more modern. And we're doing that. We're doing that at the moment. There's a wildlife series which is incoming from a really nice and interesting filmmaker in America. I'm doing lots of this, and I'm doing lots of education. So I'm a busy boy at the moment. But anyway, I'm really happy. It's a very nice balance, because when you do the big relentless animation series, you just almost don't have time for anything else. And right now, I've touch wood, it's all going fine. What's going on? What's the biggest challenge you've ever had as a composer? Working with being dropped into very, very difficult political environments. I've worked on shows where everybody has hated each other. I've worked on shows where I've taken over from other composers who've been fired, and it's just a car crash, absolute car crash. And you think, oh, okay, shall I tell you this? Okay, I did a pilot for I did a pilot for a big show, and the director. It was a very straight kids show, and the director wanted gangster rap. And he gave me this Fatboy Slim track, which wasn't gangster rap. It had lots of very, very rude words in it, and the sound of a running machine. And he said, I want that to be your inspiration. And this is for a very large media company in Los Angeles. And I said, look, this is never going to fly. This is never going to work, because they're not going to get it. Anyway, so then you're in a hard job. I've worked on quite a lot of jobs with multiple producers in different countries who all wanted multiple different things. That can be incredibly difficult. And it can get much easier if you've got a really good producer who's right at the middle of all that trouble, and they negotiate with all the stakeholders and come up with an agreed approach, which then that producer hands to you. That's great. If that doesn't happen, and you're just given a sheet of notes color-coded from who they came from, and they're all telling you to do exactly different things, that's very difficult. So I've had a few of those. What do I think about the giant piano? I think it's all right. I tell you, the new piano I really like from Native Instruments is Noir. Noir is really good. Okay, yeah, there's quite a bit of spamming going on, so I'm going to ignore any questions which go up more than a couple of times. Okay. Let's have a look. Can you make a full? How to make a full orchestral template into Cubase? Okay, this actually begs another question: do you need a full orchestral template? Because a lot of people have been moving away from orchestral templates. However, I would say there's two sides to this. If you are just writing a piece of music, there's a lot to be said from just starting from scratch with an empty project and just putting stuff in, because that way you're not going to sound the same as the last 6 pieces of music you wrote, because the instruments you're going to be drawing are going to be different. However, if you are going to write a piece which requires orchestral music, loading everything in is going to waste so much time. And you are better having an orchestral template. Now, my current approach, let me just run you through, because I've literally been finishing this off today. My current approach is to be much more modular. So here, this is loaded in Vienna Symphonic Library, Ensemble Pro. So rather than just have woodwind, brass, etc., I've got just the Spitfire brass on one. So if I wanted to swap that out and use Junkie XLs or Berlin brass or something else, then I can do that. Likewise, there's my other percussion, but actually I wasn't loving the other percussion very much. So I went and made a quick one with East-West percussion, which sounds great. There's Spitfire Symphonic. So each tab is a different library, and they're all set up as such. And then if I can just duplicate, actually somewhere on here I did have empty folders with spare ones, and you just duplicate them, assign them to the new instruments, and off you go. So the stuff which is really time consuming is setting up all the stems and the groups and all that. That's all done, because if you're going to start from a blank template, you could waste days setting all that stuff up. So it is definitely still worth having a template, 100%, but don't let it define you. Don't let it define the music you write, because the danger of a template is, firstly, you always write orchestral music. Secondly, you are going to use the same sounds every time, and so your music's going to sound the same. Which one of your short courses would you recommend as a starting point? If you are writing music from absolute scratch, then look at, actually we've got a special on at the moment. Is it just finishing? Bad timing to mention the special then. Oh dear, my life in marketing. No. How to write music and learn music theory go together really well. How to write music is not just for people who are starting out. But it is about the fundamentals of how you put music together. So I'd definitely start with that. It's cheap and cheerful and very good, I think, hopefully addresses a lot of the problems which we hear with music, with people's music far further down the road. If you want to get into film scoring, then How to Score Films is obviously, it's a pretty comprehensive short course which directs you in that direction. I would look at any of those would be, How to Write Music is obviously probably the best place to start, and then you can move on. Can you recommend any events for networking events for filmmakers and composers alike in the UK? It is a difficult, it's a difficult year for everybody. It doesn't necessarily, networking doesn't stop just because you can't go and meet face to face. And a lot of these festivals, actually, you see the big film festivals and things are all going online, and some of them which were really expensive are now to get into, and now quite inexpensive because they've cut the price of tickets. So that in some respects, this is a good time to be getting into networking. Also, an awful lot of producers and directors are sitting at home. They're not filming, and so what are they doing? They're waiting for your email. So it is a good time. I mean, networking, increasingly, it works really well in online communities. If you're on Facebook or Discord, Discord's a good place to look actually these days. It can be really, really good but if you go into a community online, go in with the view of being a contributor, not a taker, because it makes a huge difference. Harsh Yoshi, enough. Acknowledge your presence. Thank you. So I would, yes, indeed. Well said, Aditya. Okay. Oh, come on, Harsh. Enough. Don't keep on pushing it. Look, 2 minutes. Sorry, Harish, I'm not going to answer your question because you've been spamming too much. I'm not sure if there's an easy way of doing it. Okay, so let's move on to another word. Learning music theory make your music more predictable and conformist. No, not necessarily. The nice thing about music theory is it doesn't tell you how to write music. It tells you how music how the building blocks of music go together. So you can then use it however you like. Just because you know what a scale is doesn't mean you have to use a scale. But for a lot of people who can't understand why their melody doesn't fit with their chords or vice versa, it will just help you get beyond that. When it comes to originality comes from within, and it's all to do with you having a restless urge to try and do something new, always seeking out new sounds, trying to create something new, not constantly trying to recreate something you've heard in the past. I'm just going to close the door because it's a bit chilly in here. Just bear with me one moment, folks. There we go. That's better. Right. Anyway, so where were we? Oh, strangely, have I frozen? No, I'm not frozen. Right, okay. Right. Let's have a little look. Yes, that might be an idea. Okay. Help me choose some equipment. Okay. How do you get... Right, here's a question. How do I get to a pro game studio? You do at least 3 shipped titles on indie games. You make friends with indie game makers, and because for every composer like you, there's a game maker somewhere who's playing around inside Unity on the asset store, all that kind of stuff, and it's you make friends, because what they're going to want to see when you go to a game studio, what they want to see is evidence of your passion and your long-term commitment, and that is really important, probably more important than technical knowledge in a funny kind of way. But they do expect you to understand. It is a very technical area. There is quite a high technical barrier to entry. So you need to understand about middleware, for example, things like Wwise and Fmod, which are bits of software which sit in between you, the composer, and the game engine, something like Unity and Unreal. And that's really, understanding how all that works is a really important thing. So you've got to get in there and just start doing it and get going, and then, just for fun, not for money, and then a professional game studio might take you more seriously. But they normally are looking for at least sort of 3 indie titles or something like that before they're going to start, really looking at you seriously. Right. Let's have a little... hello from Spain. Call the Pope? Call the Pope? Hello, Linda. Nice to see you. Linda is in there. Okay. Okay. What else? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, okay. Enough of all this. Fan Parent has just had 2 weeks piano lessons. That's it. Yeah, I mean, look. There's no reason why you need grade 8 piano or whatever else to. If you understand the way in which music theory works, and it does help. Fluency on a keyboard really does help, but you do not need a full classical education in order to be able to play music and write music at a keyboard. There's a couple of interesting questions I saw. Whiz by. Hello, Broke News. Yes, nice to see you. Okay, how do you get 3 controllers to focus on each? Hang on, let me just. Okay, what music genre is most marketable for games right now? It depends on the genre of the game, because they're all different. In general, a lot of game music is the home of hybrid scoring, where people have had big orchestral sound with sort of synths in the background. I think what's happened in the last few years is it tends to be the synths are more in the foreground and the orchestral stuff is taking a slightly more backseat. But something which is really noticeable is people using remote individual solo players a lot. So it gives a very distinctive sound to a score, that you're combining all these weird and eclectic performances, live players, and you can do that. You can do that. You know, you either make friends with musicians who can perform on your tracks. Go to Fiverr.com, where you'll get somebody to play a line, for 20 quid or something. Not a fiver, of course. It never seems to be a fiver, does it? But all those things are open to you. All that is possible. So that is definitely the sound of the moment. But if you want to know what the sound of now is, go onto Steam and listen to early access stuff and see what people are commissioning. But also, don't just listen to the AAA stuff which comes out of the big studios. Listen to the stuff which is coming from indie producers, because they're the ones who are going to be they're the ones who are going to be up next, if you know what I mean. Right, okay, lots of chat going on. Oh, hush, please, come on, mate. Right, okay. I know. Right, I'm not sure how I can. I should have a moderator here. You know, because of the number of people we've now got on these things, I probably need a moderator to try and sort this out. Okay, how are sounds assigned sequences in a game? What you have is, I was mentioning middleware. Okay, so you have the game going on in a game engine, which is something like Unity. So that's where the game is actually programmed. Then there is this thing called middleware. And what the middleware does is it picks up on triggers which are in the game. So you put your music into the middleware, and the middleware will keep playing a loop. And then the trigger will be that the bad guy has just come through the door. And as soon as the trigger goes into the middleware, it tells the middleware to change from that loop to a more threatening loop. That's a really simplistic way of explaining it, but that is in essence how it works. And it can be incredibly complicated. So you can hook into almost anything, like player health, all that kind of stuff, and it can do all kinds of very clever and interesting things with the music. We'll do a bit on that. Because I think it's an interesting one. Would you switch from FL Studio to Cubase? Is this a good idea? I mean, people say it doesn't matter. Look, if you're a songwriter, it absolutely doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as the music sounds good. And I think probably that's also true. Let me just see if I can. Okay. There we go. I've done it. Good. Okay. Hang on. I'm just doing a little bit of moderation here for those who've out me. There. I think that should have now done it. Have things quietened down a bit? They have, haven't they? I've worked out how to moderate. Okay, right, good. Time signature still. Time signature still confused me. The rhythmic side of music is far more confusing, I think, for most people than the pitch bit. Pitch is fairly straightforward, to some degree. Rhythm is not. Also, the way it's written down is not intuitive. It is not like that. It's not. It doesn't look like a sequencer. It's not linear. It's a system of signals. And so, yeah, absolutely, it is very. You are not alone. That is, but nonetheless, it is good to get your head around it. But once things fall into place, it kind of right. It's not, the mists. There we go. That's me doing mists. Start clearing, and suddenly, actually, I tell you what. People have asked, what is in this rather attractive box painted by my daughter? That's a pied flycatcher, which is my favourite bird. The answer is the rose-tinted sunglasses of optimism. There. Don't you like them? Pink sunglasses, everybody? Optimistically looking at the people who've now stopped spamming. Anyway, okay. Well, yeah, Elliot, rhythm is, it is concrete, but it's also quite hard to get your head round. So anyway, right, where are we? Let's have a look. Could you advise on where to get orchestral percussion ready-made loops? Okay. Orchestral percussion ready-made loops. If you look, the sort of epic percussion, things like Damage and stuff like that, all come with loops. There's loops built into Damage. Orchestral percussion, not so much. Hang on, let me just get Damage up and I'll show you what I mean. Where is Damage? Let me get my instance of Kontakt up. Right, here we go. Come here, my friend. There we go. Right. Damage. So if you look there's a loop designer. Lots of libraries have that. This one's really good, but it's so you get these kind of loops. But that's not quite probably what you mean. Orchestral percussion don't tend to do loops, to be absolutely honest. But it's, again, it's not what. I wonder how I can help you more with that. Maybe, okay. I tell you what. Next time I do some scoring, orchestral scoring, I'll make an effort to quite specifically look at the orchestral percussion. I have to say, I've been struggling slightly with orchestral percussion, and I think it's about time we had a new orchestral percussion library, potentially. Anyway, are there some good cinematic percussion? Yeah, Damage 2. It's the best game in town right now. That was kind of loud. Boom. Yeah, Damage is. Also, it had its own its own sort of distortion built up. Is there even money to be made as a composer if you're not the best of the best? Look, not everybody is doing this as the best of the best by definition. Yes, but you need to work at it. What you can't do is make any kind of money without maximizing your own potential. If you understand how the market works and you focus on developing your skills to the nth degree, whatever that nth degree may be, and you follow some fairly straightforward guidance and you get sort of the right feedback, absolutely it's possible. Are you ever going to make millions of pounds? No. At the very top of the business where people are making, 6 figures, 7 figures, there's tons of talent. And but throughout the rest of the industry, there's a whole range of people. Everybody's good at something. Right. Okay. Let me see. There are some good cinematic. Okay. Hang on. It's not redundant, right? No, orchestral music's not redundant, but it's no longer the only game in town. And all you have to do is listen to what's on the games television, in the cinemas. Remember the cinema? Oh, it's a big room with lots of chairs in it, and you go in there and you eat some weird food while watching a film, like Netflix, but projected. Yeah, it used to be very popular back in the 2000s. Sorry, I know, it's not funny really, is it? Why does no one make any good libraries that sound good, dry, for more intimate sound and studio sound rather than booming sound of an orchestra library? There are dry libraries. What are the best dry libraries? Spitfire are very ambient. Orchestral Tools and VSL's very dry. The older stuff in particular, the older VSL is very dry. And the middle of the road stuff, which sounds, in my view, absolutely great. Cine Samples. Cine Samples is a really good one, actually. Mina, oh, I know. What time is it? Yeah, of course. Mina's an MA graduate from Australia, and he was hanging in there in the middle of the night sometimes. We do these webinars we try and do them in the morning so that people, as well as in the evening, so that people can catch up. But Mina was relentless, and he'd be there at 3 o'clock in the morning with matchsticks, trying to get everything. Anyway, nice to see you, Mina. Oh my Lord. Okay, where are we going? Okay, I have a projector at home and big. Yeah, I know. But you go and see something like 1917 in an IMAX, and it's an altogether more overwhelming experience. Yeah, I'm exactly. Okay. What is your take on Serum? That's what I meant. Oh, Serum's fantastic. Serum's absolutely brilliant. It's got quite an edgy sort of sound. Hang on, I'm just trying to find it, see if I've got it in here. I have got it in here, just trying to find it. And I'll show you. Okay, Serum is, here it is. Come and say hello, Serum. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Serum. Yes, it is. Okay. It makes this kind of thing. Yeah. That's just straight out the box. It's really, really good, and it allows you to mess about with a whole load of different waveforms. You can do wavetable synthesis. It can do all kinds of really, really cool stuff. And but I think the secret. Oh, how big is that? Too big for some of your speakers. Look, what you need to do, and I think this is true, it's as true of synthesis as it is of orchestral sampling and everything else, is you do need more than one. Serum is super intuitive, but Serum does have a very distinctive sound, just like Razor, which is another really good one, just like Dune from Synapse. That's really, really, really good. And you need to use more than one so that it doesn't just sound like straight out the box. So I would, if you start layering it, it's you get these really interesting textures, and that's really what you're going to do. Do you use studio monitors or headphones? Today I'm using in-ear things so that you can hear me and I can hear you and I can run around the thing. I've got where's my little thing? Can you hear it? Okay, right. I've got in this studio, I've got two Genelecs, which are absolutely fantastic. And when I need to, come on, my friend, focus up, you can do it. Oh, for goodness sake. The GH5 is not great when it comes to focusing sometimes. There we go, that's better. Okay, and I use these, which are Sennheiser, these are HD 600s, but there's sort of newer versions of that around as well. These are fantastic. These are, okay, there's two types of headphones. Closed back, which you would use if you're working as a session musician because there's no spill, no noise coming out of that, and open back. And these give you a much more realistic sound, and you can absolutely mix on these. In his early days, Jake Jackson, when he was, who is famous for his work at, with Spitfire, and he's the main engineer at Air in London. He was taking projects home and mixing them at home on headphones. And if Jake can do that, I think the rest of us can. Okay. Oh, good question, Liam. How do you stay inspired and always able to create new themes and music? I'm not always inspired. And Brian Eno had this, well, I'll paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what the phrase is, that technique and craft takes over when inspiration runs out. And the more you've done this, the more you can go through the motions, even if your heart isn't 100% in it. Also, it's part of the Faustian pact you make with the business. If you decide to do this for a living, being inspired is just, you just get up and start 9 o'clock on a Monday morning and you turn out music. That's what being a professional composer is all about. And it is much harder sometimes than others. But actually I'm doing a little, next week's little video, once Hugh's back from his holiday, is about where ideas come from. So hopefully that'll be out next Friday, so look out for that. Okay. Brian Eon's cards. Yes, he's got these random cards, hasn't he? Yeah. Who do I look up to? Good question. I think some of the best writers, I mean, not just film composers, but you know, the likes of Steve Reich, is absolute genius. He's the Mozart of our day. And in terms of film music, you know, people like Thomas Newman are among, you know, his writing to picture is just breathtakingly clever. Alexandre Desplat, I think his music is absolute, when he's really on form and not being, you know, on a huge deadline. Some of his stuff like Benjamin Button, I think is absolutely masterful. So all those kind of people. That's the my height. I'm just over 6 foot. Oh God, sorry. Look up to. Oh, I missed that. You know. Hello Surrey. Hello Hayling Island. You are not. You're not that far away, as you probably know. DT990s. Yeah, okay. Long time. Much respect. It's a simple question. I've been struggling combining. Okay, I'm struggling with combining phrases going from one to the next. Is there any advice you can give? Okay. Advice to go from one phrase to the next. Your phrases should sort of link together in a logical sense. So, if we've got a phrase which goes. Okay, now if you suddenly go into a complete something which is totally different, then it's going to sound very strange. So when you move to your next phrase, the phrases should feel like they're, you know, brothers, sisters, cousins, not a neighbour who lives down the street. So you can't go. You know, that's not going to work, is it? So what often, if you analyse tunes and see how they go together, I did a video about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? You will find that there's an element. What people tend to do when they go to another phrase is they will repeat some element of what was in the first phrase, but change other bits. So, for example, so you've got the same kind of shape to the tune repeated, but in a different mode. So, if your phrases are not linking up, you're probably not carrying over enough of the first phrase into the second phrase. You don't just want to go, because that's going to get boring very quickly. So you do need to evolve your idea, but you also need to connect it by having some elements of the front of the first phrase going into the second phrase, but messing with it. There you go. That's the shortest possible version of the explanation. How many years music theory do you recommend? If you look at my most popular video, the answer is 16 minutes. You know, but I'm not sure that necessarily. Look, you're always learning music theory, and music theory, rolls into music practice, and every time you listen to a piece of music or you pick up a book or you look at somebody else's score, you learn something. So I would learn music theory until you stop being surprised by the answers. You see, many years ago, I used to be a journalist for the BBC, and the nature of daily journalism is you'd walk into there at 9 o'clock in the morning and they'd say, okay, you're doing the decline of the coal industry in the northeast of England. Okay, so you start emailing people and ringing people up and looking at and after about 2 or 3 hours, you started to know what the potential interviewee was going to tell you, at which point you knew you'd probably got on top of that story, that you were no longer being surprised by the answers. I'd say the same with music theory. When you stop going, whoa, I didn't know anything about that. Okay, we do rather a good course online music theory. Did I mention that? Anyway, yeah, it goes quite a long way now, actually, learn music theory. There's quite a lot of stuff in there. Okay, I play the guitar and tried songwriting. I got a structured tune, but I don't know what drum patterns and instruments to add to it. How do I do this? The drum pattern should emerge out of the rhythm of your chord progression and your tune. A lot of people would start with the drums and then put the chord progression on top. It's so if you I just invented the world's greatest. No. Actually, the way to do this is, really? Okay. Zap. No, they're not. I think you'll find they've gone. I'm sure they'll come back. What? Anyway, look. I won't go down that road. We're talking about drummers. I found when I was first getting into this, quite a useful thing is to go to put a drum loop in and then try and recreate it with a sample drum or with an electronic drum. So then this way, particularly if you put an audio drum loop into your DAW, so you can actually see the waveform. That way you start understanding how that drum pattern's gone together, and then when you take that away, you've then got the wherewithal to create your own drum patterns, and you start, because it takes a lot of practice, and to get good at that. And then after a while, it just flows. And okay, well, I think it's a long question in a way. So I will indeed come. I will return. It's interesting because when people ask things, this is indeed what happens when you get 100,000 subscribers. When people ask questions in sessions like this, we can use it as motivation to do a video or something like that. So yes, absolutely. There's lots of interesting chat going on. Is music theory? Yeah. Okay. Do you use drum finger pads to record drums, or just you can? I tend to use the keyboard. I have used drum pads. I don't find it gives me any great advantage over. Also, I tend to know, that my kick drum's going to be down there, and then my snare is going to be there, and then there's a sort of sharper version of the snare. So once you learn your way around how the GM sort of drums are laid out, then it really won't. How expensive it would be to get a realistic violin strings, maybe flute in Cubase. I can't afford to hire an orchestra, so I'm hoping Cubase sound will real enough on its own. Thanks. Start with some of the free libraries. Start with BBC Discover and see how you go. That would be free, which is pretty well the cheapest way of starting. Okay, FL is the worst DAW ever for film music. No, look, what people tend to use things like FL, and Ableton Live is another one. They don't they don't use it to what was I saying? They use it as a tool to create stuff which goes into the film score. They don't actually score films in FL and Ableton more often than not, because Logic and Cubase have really strong sort of resources for doing that, so why why try and do it in Ableton or FL when actually that's going to be quite hard work? So I would, if you're really good at writing music in FL or Ableton, use it to create the stuff, and then either use Rewire or bounce it out as audio and drop it into your, and then finish the actual film scoring bit in Cubase. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. I tell you what. Yes, people are a bit saying, let's just. I was, before you came in, I was just starting. Here we go. I'm going to get rid of everything I've done then. I was just messing about with my new template, and so what we're going to do is we will just do a little bit of, I don't know, I'm going to write something. I have no idea what it's going to be. Can I hear anything? Oh, that's because I've not selected a track. You will find, guy. Oh, right, hang on. Do the show hide thing. Have I got a show hide thing on? There we go. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, there we go. I've done! Hey, 1-0. Thank you very much indeed. Good night. Okay. See, when I'm setting this stuff up, I try and go through each section, trying to make sure it all works. Okay, quite like that. That's all right. Let's have a bit of a clarinet in there now. That wasn't what I intended to play, but it came out all right. Tell you what, I'm going to loop this stuff and then see what happens, because you never know. So this tends to be the way I just get going. I just start and I don't think about it too much, and then before you know it, you've got something going on. Okay, so I tell you what, with those, rather than immediately leaping for the strings, why don't we just try doing something which is not strings? Because sometimes the most important thing to do is to try and avoid the things which you've constantly done before. This is a Spitfire vibe, and the trouble is it's just really short. I don't know why it's so short. It just goes boom boom. It's not particular. It's not my idea of fun, so I'm going to get rid of him and go into the. Oh, okay. Okay, that's going to work. Okay, something along those lines. Not there yet, nearly there. No, why do I keep on doing this weird stuff? I don't know. Could a tuba fit into this? A tuba can fit into anything except a mini. No. Okay, here we go. Could a tuba fit into this? He thinks, why did I just promise to put a tuba in this? Is that the best idea I've had all day? Let me just see what I'm doing. Here we go. I'm not going to put it in straight away. There you go. Tuba. Okay, it's a bit of a cheat. One low note does not make a picnic. Okay, what else are we going to add in here? Any suggestions out there? It's quite minimalist, isn't it? Do you prefer East, West, or Spitfire? Horses for course, I tend to prefer Spitfire. East West is a little bit bright a lot of the time, but there's some really, really good stuff. And I am definitely going to do some more stuff with East West coming up in the not too distant future, actually, because I was playing with it today. But oh, you can't hear the door? No. 1, 2, 3. Okay, audio and adios. Have you gone from the mic? Okay, it should be working. Okay, all I can say, a lot of people. Okay, no audio. Your cam sound is now on. Audio gone, just your voice. Door cut out. I hear the mouse. Oh, female vocal. Oh, sorry. I thought you'd have hearing a female. Sounds like just the camera. No, it's coming from here. So. No door audio drop. Guy, the Cubase audio is off. Okay, I can't see why that would be the case. If I'm hearing it, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look. Okay, I can't see why that should be happening. I can see it going in and out. And that's not. Is that happening for you? I can see meters going up and down. Okay. Well, I have no idea why that would, because it's both the way this one. Okay. Stop. The way this the audio comes out of there and goes into that little box down there. Okay. It comes out of the computer into the mixer where my mic is mixed into it. And then I'm monitoring off this little mixer, and then the whole lot goes straight into that box there, which then goes out to you. So, oh dear, okay, scratch that out. Okay, that is very strange. Did you accidentally mute the interface output channel from the stream? No, because I can see it going up and down on the output. It's maybe down here actually. It might be an Ecamm Live problem. Maybe my MacBook. This is transmitting from my MacBook, so that might be the problem. Okay. No, can't see any stream health. Okay. I think it may be a problem with my MacBook down here, which is a shame because we're just getting going. Oh dear, never mind. Look. Okay. I think Ethernet. I think Ethernet went adios too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, team. Looks a bit dodgy. Okay. Yes. No. I'll explain the. Okay. There's no point in explaining. Okay. It's Ecamm Live on a MacBook. Okay. And it was working great, then suddenly it stopped. Yes, I know. Shame. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's looking very, very laggy. Oh well. Don't give up, guys, says Metal Gear Attack. Yeah. Okay, so I wonder what is going on here. Look, you went. Okay. We've been going an hour and a quarter, so we may sort of wind this up. We can still hear you. Oh, this is good news. Restart the stream. I am gonna wind things up very soon, actually, to be honest, because I need to move on. And restarting this is going to be quite hard work, actually. But I will take note of what has happened and try and work out if there's a better way of doing this in the future. Yeah. Turn it off and on again, lol. Indeed. Get the guitar out, guy. Okay. Yeah, it's very strange why you wouldn't be able to hear that. Look, I'm sorry about that. Never mind. Look, if we're having continuing Yeah, it's very, very droppy outy. Oh, what a scoring game. That's awesome. Best luck with it. That's amazing. Okay. Cockney piano sing on anyone? They're probably, yeah, indeed. Okay, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on here. So I'm not sure that this is going to get any better. Okay, right. I think I may call it a night tonight because I'm going to have to start and stop my machine to make it all work properly. And as you can see, it's been obviously going in and out rather. So look, I will. I'm going to shut things down and move on. We're going to be back. Yeah, I need the sunglasses of doubt. We're going to be back there's a film next week, and we will do more of these lives. Sorry it didn't kind of come together right at the end, but I hope you've had a good time, and we will be back in the very near future. So look, thank you very much indeed for your company, and and just when I started writing, okay, I'll come back and do another one which is just writing, okay? Would that make sense? Yeah, once we've sorted out this strange problem, which is very, very jumpy. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, see you all very soon.